Hi scrappers, I wanted to show you what I did with my scraps from the Stella Rose minis that I made. I had very few scraps left over and I punched out a bunch of squares and circles, and I just had pieces like this left. There's no reason to keep these because there's nothing you can do with them, so I pretty much used the whole collection. But what I did with them is I got 4 cards out of each collection, and I just mounted I distressed around the edges of the circles and the squares, and I mounted them on top of each other. Some I popped up, some I put little embellishments on. This is just a piece of string. This is a flower with a button on it. And I love this way because it really showcases the collection. And you just punch out whatever you can, and then you can put them together like this. Then down here you can leave room for a sentiment. Right here I stamped the sentiment. So that was out of the Mabel papers. And then I got 4 cards out of the other collection. I did them pretty much the same way. So that's always fun to make cards. And with that, I also took the cover of the paper and made these tags. And I'm not finished embellishing them, I've just cut them out. I can stamp a journaling spot, add a flower or whatever, and use even the covers. Another thing I do is sometimes I use them to make tags. Now this is the Tuscan Sunflower. These are scraps I had left over from a mini I made using Tim Coffey's Tuscan Sunflower. And I've just ripped the papers and I've inked them and just glued them all together, put in a little eyelet, some jute, added a little flower with some stickles on it, fussy cut this. Just a plain basic simple tag, and I'm going to stamp journaling spot on the back. So that's another way you can use your scraps. And then I got this cute little baby collection at Hobby Lobby. It's the Paper Studio, and they're just baby papers, boy and girl baby papers. And I made a couple of little simple minis, very simple minis. And what I did was I just cut and made it a square. So I cut it 4.5 and made it a square. And then I had these little short pieces. Here's the little girl one. These aren't embellished in any way inside. They're just, the papers are glued back to back. But this is what I did with the scraps from this. These are done a little bit differently. This one I just cut strips, or just used the strips. Some of them I cut smaller. Some of them I used an edge punch, and I just kind of arranged them, glued them together, and hot glued some buttons on. This one I just punched out with my square punch some different elements from the collection and inked it. This one I added a little bow, and these are just some cute little safety pins with designs on the end I got in a little button, and I stamped Welcome Baby. Here's the girl version of that same card. This one I used the strips vertically and just inked them and glued them all down. Very simple to make. This, I had this piece left over from the Stella Rose minis that I made, and I wasn't going to use it, and I thought it would be cute on the card. So this would be a card you could mail because it doesn't have any bulk to it. So, but I thought it turned out kind of cute. Here's one that I used the strips this way also, and I just popped this up and added a couple buttons. On this one it just had circles, so I just glued buttons across it. Very simple. But I think just, you know, putting down a layout, inking them, and just, you know, playing with it until you get the right layout. And the last one I did was this one. I added a little bow, some buttons, and popped this up. And it was just a simple way. I got 8 cards out of the scraps from these 2 little albums. And so that's what I like to do with my scraps, make simple and easy cards. So thanks for watching. Hope this helps someone.